Good morning. Thank you for joining me, Coach Michael, on your Monday morning. A few weeks back, I talked about the Great Resignation Part I, of how 73% of individuals that went from one job to the other in the last couple of years actually regretted their decision. Today, I'm going to touch a little bit on the Great Resignation Part II. And let me explain. I do not disagree that the hiring environment over the last couple of years has become more difficult. There's no doubt in my mind. It's evident in the force out there. However, you got to be really careful of how you think and what you say. That old phrase, there's no good people out there, you got to be really careful. That's a global belief. And a global belief is when you set up a belief like that, there's no good people out there. I always say, you show up right, the right people show up. Your thinking will actually dictate what you're going to attract. And if you're thinking that, unfortunately, no good people are going to show up. We have to work on ourselves to become our best, where people will want to represent our brand. Now, many people know I'm a big UFC fan, United Fighting Championship. And Dana White, called the boss, he's the CEO and owner of the UFC. He has what they call the Contender Series. It's on ESPN+, it's on every Tuesday night, and the Contender Series is where the boss will interview people who've been really biting, scratching, clawing, training, sacrificing their entire life to hopefully get a contract in the UFC. Now, each Tuesday night, 10 people show up, 5 fights. Now, this is called the toughest job interview in the world. Now, when they show up, there's 5 fights. On the first episode, 4 of the fights, there was winners, but they didn't really wow the boss. They didn't really impress him. The 5th fighter showed up, and he said he's going to do whatever it takes to walk away with a contract. And let me tell you, he did. He wowed everybody. Dana White was standing up, applauding, saying, "That's what I'm looking for." And he won his contract. Now, Dana White also put out a little phrase after that fight, that first week. He said, anybody who's looking to join the UFC and win a contract, I don't care what you've done in the past. I don't look at your resume. I don't look at your fights. I don't look at any of your performances. All I see is when you walk into the ring that Tuesday night, that's the only thing I see, and that's exactly how I'm judging you, whether you get a contract to represent our brand or not. Powerful stuff. He doesn't care what they've done in the past. All he cares about is how they show up. And since that first episode, 15 plus contracts have been awarded to fighters to enter the UFC. It's a record. People are showing up. They're doing whatever it takes to win that contract. Now, why do I share this with you? Because if we're using the phrase, "there's no good people out there," there's some great people out there. There's some nonprofit organizations out there that are taking young kids from bad environments, foster kids, and educating them, mentoring them, and giving them the opportunity to do internships and go to college and change their life. Mod Pizza is an organization that hires children and young adults that have been through the grind and bad experience in their life. They give them the second shot that somebody else is unwilling to give them. College Hunks, a client of mine that I work with, their phrase is, "we build leaders." One of the people that worked for the organization was down and out 5 years ago, and the owner gave him a shot. Now he's going to be taking over the keys to the company 3 years from now. There's people out there with heart and soul that will do whatever it takes to represent a brand with pride. They will jump through hoops. They will do whatever you ask because they want to prove themselves. Those are the good people you're looking for. You go to my book, Knock Out of the Park Leadership, chapter 16. They either qualify or they don't. Look for the people with the heart and soul that want to step up and make something for themselves in life. You give that person a second chance. You give them the opportunity that nobody else is willing to give them, and you'll see how people show up and represent your brand, and no longer will you be saying there's no good people out there. So it's obviously I'm a little passionate about this. Take a lead from Dana White. Make it the toughest job interview ever. Make people want to show up. You don't care what they did in the past. It's how they show up today. And trust me, there are people out there looking for an organization with the right culture that they want to represent. So you work on you and you'll attract the right people. And remember, show up right and the right people will show up. Hope this has been valuable. As always, I want to thank you for joining me, Coach Michael, on your Monday morning. I want to wish you a productive and profitable week. I'll see you next Monday. Be well. Hey, Coach Michael here. This Friday, Fort Lauderdale, September 30th, from 8:45 to 4 p.m., join us to work on your business. Take a day out of your business to work on the business. Join 30, 40 other individuals to mastermind and brainstorm and create the clarity so you could have the best fourth quarter ever in business. I hope you join us. Be sure to register.